Hey guys, it's Christian Singer back from CNH Small Engine again for another informative review video. This one, if you can obviously tell, it's about snow blowers and stuff like that. And what I got today is a customer machine here we had from the past week over here. He brought it over last Friday, and he claimed the machine was basically sitting in storage for about 5 to 6 years, and basically it was never used since the time they actually bought it. The guy claims he bought it back in, I think, 2009, 2010. It basically been sitting in some kind of storage unit from that time period, and he only actually used it maybe one time for about a half an hour at his house. So he obviously had carburetor problems with this machine, and I'll give you a rundown everything on it here. Specifically, it's a Toro. It's a single stage, as you see right there. It's not a dual stage or nothing. It's a single stage with the rubber paddles on the front. The good thing about this one is that here is you can actually replace the rubber pedals on her quite easily. They have bolts and nuts on her for that, so it's pretty easy to take them off and swap them on. It takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to do it right. And whenever you do swap them out, I do recommend putting the new rubber pads in some hot water for about 15-20 minutes and only work on it in a relatively warm environment, because those rubber pads are quite stiff. Because if you're working on something outside or something like that, like it is right now, it's about 35, 36 degrees out here with some wind. We got some wind out here right now, so I apologize for the wind sound. If you're hearing any wind sound in the background right now, I can't do anything about it, but it's blowing up on the hill right now. So it's always a good idea to heat them up a bit, put them in some hot water, and work on them in a warm environment, because it'll keep them nice and rubbery and flexible for that. Okay, this machine is the Toro Power Clear, as they call it. It has the we call revised r-tek 2-cycle engine. It's a 141cc 2-stroke engine with the 22-inch cutting path, obviously down there as well too. And the unique thing about this one is the r-tek engine. It's very close and very similar to the Lawn Boy Door Force engines, which they discontinued back in 2004. And this one actually has a metal carburetor on them, as opposed to the typical Toro, or actually on the actual Lawn Boys. They have the plastic carburetor. And some of these r-tek engines on here, they did have plastic carburetors on the original r-tek snowblowers. However, I guess Toro and Lawn Boy found out that they were having issues with them, and they actually replaced them and had our TSB out on them, because I guess the cold weather was not too good for having the plastic on her for that, and they switched to the metal style carburetor, which this one has on it currently right now. So just be aware of that fact. If you do have one of these Toros, you might have a little bit earlier one. This one, I believe this one's a 2009 from the actual model number and serial number on her for that. If you have one similar to this that's slightly older than this one, just be advised you may have to replace the carburetor specifically on it, because they did improve the design from the plastic one, and they did install the metal ones as a replacement for them for that. So just be aware of that fact. So I'll flip it up here, and you can see the actual information on the tag down here for that. Okay, here we go, guys. There we go. Let me get a closer picture here for you here for the information on that tag. There we go, right there. It's a model number 38583 3100 is a part of serial number. And over here on the right hand side, you see DOM 2009 October, so it's a 2009 produced engine, EPA phase 2 on there for that. And it does have the metal carburetor as well too. Down, you get a better picture here, zooming in on. Sorry about that. There you go. Got a metal carburetor down inside there. It does not have the earlier generation one with a plastic carburetor for that. So this one does not need the carburetor replaced at all here for that. So it's basically good to go. The only thing we did have to do to this one right here was basically the carburetor itself had, unfortunately, it had lard-like sludge down inside the actual bowl. I'm basically not kidding you at all. It does have, or I should say, it did have lard-like sludge, because the gasoline basically turned into jelly, and basically when it's sitting for a long period of time, especially in colder weather out there, it turns into like a it almost looks like Crisco or some kind of a baking baking pan substitute you put in a baking pan. It gets real hard, and it basically clogs up down inside there. Plus, he did have some water down inside the carburetor and the fuel tank as well too. So the tank need to be cleaned out, flushed. Need a new fuel filter, new fuel line, and the carb had to be extensively cleaned for about 3 times. We actually cleaned it initially with gasoline, let it sit in the gasoline tank for about a couple hours, took it out, put it in some hot carb solution for about 3 or 4 hours, took it out again, blew it out, and we put in a Jaws tank, ultrasonic tank, and we redid the whole thing again, put in some gasoline, scrubbed it up, and after about 3 hours of doing all that, the carburetor turned out to be quite well now. So I'm going to fire it up here for you so you can actually see it running and starting here for you guys as well too. So without further ado, let me fire it up here. There you go. Runs great. Let me see, the auger's working fine. It has a little bit of smoking on it, but that's relatively normal coming out of the exhaust because it is a 2-stroke engine. Let me shut it off here. So that's the review for the Toro single stage with the r-tek 2-stroke engine on there for that. This is one of the last generation ones they have on there for that because of the EPA and shit like that out there. EPA mandates it has to meet a certain criteria for emissions out there, and unfortunately the 2-stroke engine after a while is not able to basically meet those criteria. That's why the actual newer machines, they're basically all Chinese sourced out there for that and have Chinese engines on them for that. One of my persons who left a comment on one of my previous videos was asking me about what kind of oil that I recommend putting in these machines. I got a little packet right down here for that, so I just want to show you guys what we actually use over here. Here you go. Let me put it over here. It's called OP2 2-stroke engine lubricant smokeless EGD++, one mix for all 2-stroke engines. What this is a 1.8 ounce 50 milliliters pack, and you basically mix this with 1 gallon of gas basically for your machine. You basically put this in 1 gallon, preferably a plastic gasoline tank container, wherever you have it, that's basically sealed. I do recommend using pure gasoline. It's basically gasoline that does not have any ethanol in it. However, it may be difficult to source that in different locations out there for that. Us here around here in the actual McKeesport, White Oak area in Allegheny County, we actually have a one gas station. It's about 10 minutes from us here. It actually sells pure gas, but the only problem is it's about $1 more than the actual regular octane gas out there for that. So I always recommend using pure gas in your machine, basically, especially in your 2-stroke snowblower engines that are for that, because these things don't get used very often. So it's always highly recommended to use the best gas you can to basically minimize your running issues and stuff like that, because the actual cold weather makes these things run like crap out there, unfortunately. So it's always good to use the best gas you can possibly buy, so it'll minimize any running and starting issues out there for that. So if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot about something like this here, or if you're thinking about having something like this repaired, feel free to leave me a message here, and I'll try to answer any questions you guys have about something similar to this. I'll see you guys. Have a nice day.